is my city, this is our state, and I'll be damned if we're not gonna take it back. Now, we have got some dynamic, nasty women in the lineup today. So the next voice that you will hear is another bona fide, nasty woman. So just one more time, I want to welcome you to Wake County on behalf of the Wake County Board of Commissioners. But again, you didn't come here to march. We didn't even come here to fellowship. I need you all to make a couple promises to me before I step off stage. Just two. I'm asking you to do two things. Harriet Tubman did 13 missions back into the South to free people from slavery. And all I'm asking you to do is show up on March 3rd. The second thing I'm asking you to do is show up in November to elect more women, more nasty women. That's right, we ain't got time to be polite. We here to work, we here to vote, we here to show up. Thank you. Hey, y'all keep it going for Jessica Holmes. All right. The immediate portion of this part of the program.
Look for us. What we need is state-sponsored Missing Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force to look into this issue, as well as help for our American Indian families to find relief and justice. These are the patterns I have seen. Police dismissing concerned families with the excuse that runaways always come back. Coroners dodging paperwork and scrawling other next to the line titled race and accidental death. Government officials from top to bottom hoarding that kind of power that keeps this crisis alive. Violent men who don't respect women. Our native men who have forgotten how to be a protector. And oil and gas industries putting their hands on our lands to take lives that do not belong to them. Addressing this crisis requires an action from you, the public, to force its elected representatives to enact these changes. And doing that will require you to not know what missing murdered Indigenous women means. It is up to get in arms about its causes, and I want you to demand a change in the way that supports the organization being done by Indigenous citizens here in North Carolina. Statistics in other states have shown that when missing murdered Indigenous women is addressed, all violence against women, all women, receive higher accountability. But for years now, we have been stuck on acknowledgement, listening to elected officials admit that there is a problem over and over, and actively finger pointing at each other and other departments. This is a detriment to the cause, while the witnesses to these horrific acts of violence sit quietly to the side. And in closing, knowing the names of murdered and missing Indigenous women isn't enough. We need to stand up and stand together. We know the urgency of this crisis. We know there are ways forward, and we know the people and systems standing in the way. Nekiwa, Biwa.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Now! Our next speaker is Lemishia Kamensky. She's a democracy campaigner of Friends of the Earth, co-founder of Democracy Green, and incoming Deputy Political Director of Advanced Carolina. Yeah, I got it. All right. She has made it a personal mission to advocate for agriculture, climate justice, just transition, rural communities, and communities of color. Alongside her brother, they've co-founded TW2 Inc., a 501c3 non-traditional satellite arts school providing music lessons and instruments to centers and schools across the state of North Carolina. She is also the co-founder of the Scale Academy of Performing Arts located in Southeast Raleigh. Please help me welcome Lemishia Kamensky.
It is so good to be here today. Echoing Commissioner Holmes, can I hear my nasty women? In North Carolina, we face dangers created by corporations and magnified by disasters. Following Hurricane Florence, 5 corporate coal ash dumps breached in the Neuse River, causing arsenic levels to be nearly 18 times higher than the state safety standard. We have seen increased lung and bronchial disease, elevated risk of cancer and contamination in our soil from corporate hog farms in eastern North Carolina. Made worse by flooding, which unleashed 7 million gallons of untreated swine feces into our floodwaters. We saw political candidates steal over 800 absentee votes in the wake of this same hurricane. And we have witnessed the contamination of PFAS and Gen X poured into our waterways, affecting roughly 250,000 people. We have stood against the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, which stands to tear through the counties with the highest population of African American and Native Americans in the state. We have witnessed affordable housing turn into contaminated housing. From the deaths of a mother and her child 27 years ago in Walnut Terrace here in Raleigh from CO poisoning, to last year 3 infants dying from the same causes at McDougland Terrace. All of this in North Carolina is the 10th hungriest state in the nation. 1 in 5 babies face hunger on a regular basis. You understand that these are examples of harms and instances that are logical outcomes of a society that believes certain people and lands are expendable. And this is simply unacceptable. The destruction that we are witnessing is the product of a broken political and economic system. So when we talk about environmental harms, we cannot disentangle the intersections of racism and sexism and classism. A system based on the political marginalization of poor and minority communities, along with a government that is captured by powerful polluting interests. It is this broken system that has prevented North Carolina from tackling climate change, dirty money in politics, and stopping pollution at its source. It is this broken system, not Mother Nature, that has given rise to the unspeakable suffering we see today. But through it all, we have resisted. When 100 years ago, women fought and won the right to vote. When 22 years ago, the million women marched descended on Washington in a display of power and unity. And it's at my time. So in closing, we have waded in the contaminated hurricane waters to save our homes. We have dragged our polluted, heavy, laden bodies to the front lines of justice as we demand our lawmakers to call to task these dirty, polluting corporations. We have stretched our last meals. We have stretched our last dollars, and we have sacrificed our plates for our children to eat as we evacuate. And in closing, it is abundantly clear, in order to save our democracy and this planet, we must protect Mother Earth and her daughters.
You should do that. Keep visiting those community partners. If you've got a friend who's not here, text them, tell them to get over here and join the party. Next up, I'd like to introduce Sabora Royan, a childcare teacher, member of the Raleigh Wake Dream in Black chapter of the National Domestic Workers of Violence. Let's keep it going.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zabora. And yes, I am a member of We Dream in Black and NDWA. I'm here to talk to you about women at work and another story that I have. Women at work is a demanding role. Like, we work, we take care of our children, we have to balance everything. Children sick, we still have to go to work. no sick time. It's just crazy. And I've had the pleasure of being both an entrepreneur and an employee. So it's, a lot of work, and it's well worth it. So let me tell you about a story that happened to me almost a year ago. So I woke up one morning with a sore throat. Didn't really think anything of it, like, must be sick. I work with children. But I'm like, but I don't feel sick. Well, maybe I slept with my mouth open, I don't know. About an hour later, I touched my neck, and I felt a lump. Scared the mess out of me, because my father died from throat cancer. And mind you, I don't have any health insurance. So later on that day, I finally go to the hospital and I explain to the ER doctor, listen, my father died from throat cancer. I don't have health insurance, but I need to know what this is in my throat. They do the MRI, and sure enough, there's a cyst. There's 2. I go to an ENT, still no health insurance. And they send me for a biopsy. Luckily, the biopsy comes back and I'm cancer-free, which is great. Yeah, I definitely cheer for that, but I still need surgery. And still almost a year later, I haven't had this surgery. And so this tiny cyst that was only fillable by your finger is now recognizable by your eye because it's grown. And I still don't have health insurance. Health insurance is important for us all. It's a universal right. I should be able to have surgery when I first found out. I don't know what it is now because I haven't been to the doctor again. So then I decide I'm gonna go to work for a company who does offer health benefits. And in 90 days, I'm gonna be able to make an appointment at a doctor and see about getting my surgery. Well, my 90 days have passed and I don't have my health benefit package yet. So let me just move forward and tell you that the National Domestic Workers Alliance, this organization has taught me that I have rights at work. And because I know that I have rights at work, that job better look out. But also because we all need to come together to change legislative laws. That way they understand that us care workers, we are here. What we do matters. What we do will stay. We will keep going. We will not stop until everything is addressed, everything is changed, everything, and the legislators know how important the work we do and how important it is for us to continue doing it. Thank you for your time.
If you want to take a break, there's some chairs available here, but let's keep it going. And join me in a rousing round of applause for Jessica Hulick with Equality, North Carolina. Woo!
Hello, my name is Jessica. I am the Director of Civic Engagement and Politics for Equality North Carolina, which is the oldest statewide organization in the country dedicated to LGBTQ rights. ENC is fighting for the lived equality of the entire LGBTQ community, no matter what level of access, privilege, or power that you hold. Lived equality means that LGBTQ people believe that we are valued, accepted, and safe in all spaces within our day-to-day lives. Jobs, places of worship, towns, cities, hospitals, and more. Lived equality also means not facing violence simply for being who you are. As an organization, we are moving towards a broader social justice work because LGBT people are in every community, whether we are people of color, immigrants, undocumented folks, people experiencing incarceration or homelessness. We want everyone to see themselves reflected in this movement. So I was asked to speak specifically about gun violence prevention today. So here are the facts. Firearms are the second leading cause of death for American children and teens, and the first leading cause of death for Black children and teens. Black Americans are 10 times more likely than white Americans to die by gun homicide. The U.S. gun suicide rate is 8 times that of other high-income countries. In North Carolina, 789 people die by gun suicide every year. LGBTQ youth are 8 times more likely to attempt suicide, possibly because 60% of all LGBTQ youth report being bullied in school. Nearly 1,700 children and teens die from gun homicide every year. 52 American women are shot to death by an intimate partner, and many more are injured. Nearly 1 million women alive today have been shot by an intimate partner. 4.5 million American women alive today have been threatened with a gun by an intimate partner. 3 million American children witness gun violence every year. Of the 157 known transgender or gender nonconforming people who were killed since 2013, 102 of them were killed with guns, and a majority of them were women of color. We should not have to live this way. Our children should not have to live this way. Our community should not have to live this way. Gun violence prevention is a woman's issue. All women, all religions, black, white, brown, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and every ally. Working class, middle class, and those living with mental illness, people who are differently abled, all of us. It takes all of us to change this culture. So, that was a little depressing. So how can we change these tragic statistics? One way is to get involved with Equality North Carolina. We view gun violence as an issue that disproportionately impacts the most vulnerable members of our community. We are working to end this violence, end bullying in our schools for all children. We are fighting for health care for all people, which includes mental health care. Equality North Carolina is already on the ground across the state, canvassing, making phone calls, registering voters, and making the political change that we need in this state. The election is 281 days away, and we need everyone to get involved and take action now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, estoy aquí como inmigrante, como mujer, como madre, pero sobre todo como ser humano.
I'm here as an immigrant, as a woman, but most of all as a human being.
Estoy aquí para alzar la voz porque están terminando con nosotros.
I'm here to raise my voice because they're killing us.
Están terminando con todo lo que da vida. Están terminando con el agua, con el planeta y con las mujeres.
They're destroying everything that gives us life. They're destroying our water resources, they're destroying our planet, and they're killing us.
Para muchos de los que estamos en este lado, la palabra feminicidio no existe.
For people in this side of the world, the word femicide does not exist.
Pero desafortunadamente, el feminicidio está más cerca de nosotros de lo que creemos.
But unfortunately, femicide is closer to us than we think.
Por ejemplo, tenemos lo que pasa en la zona rural de Montana.
For example, in the rural area of Montana,
donde el 65% de la población pertenecen a la comunidad Cheyenne y Crow.
where 65% of the population is Cheyenne and Crow.
Y solamente el año pasado, murieron 5,590 mujeres.
And just last year, 5,590 women were murdered.
Y si hablamos de nuestra área,
And if we talk about our area,
la desaparición, el asesinato de las mujeres también existe.
the disappearance and the murder of women still exists.
Y todo esto es en las manos de los hombres.
And this is mainly done at the hands of men.
Tenemos mujeres asesinadas por sus parejas y desaparecidas.
We have women being murdered by their intimate partners and disappeared.
En Ashboro,
In Ashboro,
Greensboro
Greensboro,
y Burlington.
and Burlington.
Y muchas de estas no tienen, no se reflejan las que no se denuncian.
And many of these do not reflect a lot of the unreported crimes.
En el 2019 hubieron 106 en lo que va en Durham. La policía indica que en el 2018 hubieron 138 reportes de violaciones.
In 2019, Durham police reported that there were 106 reports of rape. And before that, in 2018, 138 reports of rape.
En lo que va del año han sido denunciados 6 casos de violaciones en Durham.
And just this year, just this month, there's been 6 reports of rape in Durham.
Desafortunadamente no encontramos información de la policía de Raleigh sobre estos datos.
And unfortunately, we were not able to find this information from the Raleigh police.
Y no es porque no existan,
And it's not because it does not exist.
entonces ¿cómo vamos a proteger el futuro si no estamos protegiendo el presente?
So then how are we supposed to protect the future if we are not protecting women?
Están acabando con nosotros.
They are killing us.
Tú mujer, tú y tú,
You, women, women, women.
¿qué vamos a hacer para parar esto? ¿Qué vamos a hacer para detenerlo?
What are we going to do to stop this? What are we going to do to end this?
Tú que tienes el privilegio de poder estar frente a una autoridad, tienes que usarlo para ir a exigir que los asesinatos, que las muertes sean esclarecidas.
You that have the privilege to go to authority, you can demand answers for these rapes, for these disappearances that are happening in our community.
Tú tienes la obligación de acompañar a las mujeres violentadas o a las familias que están sufriendo.
You have the obligation to accompany and support survivors and families who have been impacted by this violence.
Luchar por la vida de las mujeres no es un día y no es un baile nada más.
The fight for women is not just one day, it's not just one dance.
La vida de las mujeres es una lucha de cada día.
The struggle for women is every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.